Partnered by Time's influence.
The bikers have taken position and they're all set to burn some rubber. Hello and welcome to day 2 of round 2 of the 20th JK Tyre FMSCI National Racing Championship 2017. I'm Lisa Mangaldas and buckle up because you've got to get set for some very exciting racing action ahead. It was action time at the Kari Motor Speedway in Coimbatore. In its 20th edition, the championship featured single-seater racing cars, two-wheeler categories, and top racers from across the country and beyond. The first day of the second round saw some high-octane action. Racers were looking to up the ante on day 2. The first race of the day was the JK Tyre Red Bull Road to Rookies Cup. It featured riders between 12 to 16 years, selected from the 4 corners of the country. This is the grid position for the JK Tyre Red Bull Road to Rookies Cup. There was a strong presence of riders from Aizawl who have endeared themselves to spectators. But they were no match for Jaden Gunawardena.
Number 41, take a bow, you young lad.
The Sri Lankan continued his winning streak with a comfortable 3-second lead. Lal Roisella finished second, while Varanese was third.
I got the slipstream through the main stretch, and then with late braking, I managed to overtake him in the first corner. And then
I think I need more than to practice in track, and I will do the best right.
Yeah, I feel excited, but I'm not happy. I was planning second, but I came third. I was not happy. We'll see.
The interest in motor racing in India has grown in leaps and bounds over the last few decades. This has been made possible with the development of a racing ecosystem. With me is Indian racing legend and the president of the Federation of Motorsports Clubs of India, FMSCI, Akbar Ibrahim. Akbar, thanks so much for joining us. Now, there's been quite a push to propel motorsport in India up from the grassroots level. How successful do you think that's been so far?
It's going pretty well, actually. We've given a lot more thrust this year. There are 2 parts to it. One is the sporting side and one is the regulation side. So both have to go in tandem. The sporting side is doing very well. We have a lot of championships. In fact, we've got 13 national championships. We've got about 370 events happening in a year. And the season has started, so it's all going back to back across the country. The level of the events are going up every year. It's good to see the level of officiating getting better. It's good to see competition levels getting better. It's very good to see the inputs being put in by the sponsors and the organizers, the hospitality. The awareness is getting much better with the general public. So in all, I think motorsport is going in the right direction, and it's good to see the growth happening.
What would you consider some of the highlights or the greatest achievements, as well as some of the challenges that everybody faces?
Well, to start with the challenges, I think in motorsport it's probably one of the most toughest sports amongst all sports. It can be very cruel at times, but it's very hard on you. You have to be extremely focused and committed. There's a lot of physical fitness that's required and a lot of mental fitness that's required, and it also requires a lot of financial backing. In India, we're lucky we've structured the sport to accommodate so that it's not extremely expensive as compared to international racing. To consistently be there. We don't have much infrastructure, which is a problem as far as India is concerned, because we are a very big country. So we have only 3 circuits. The good things that have happened to Indian motorsport is that the Indian drivers and the riders who are competing internationally are doing extremely well. When they see an Indian abroad, they give them a lot of respect. And previously they were all treated as beginners, and that the whole perception has changed, which is very satisfying.
The LGB Formula 4 is considered one of the most economical single-seater races in the world. Drivers from major racing teams in India were competing at the championship.
From childhood, I had a passion for racing, so I had no chance how to enter into this. So last year only I started racing in Formula F Force. I got to this by DTS Academy in Coimbatore. I got an invitation in my college, engineering college. Likewise, I came into racing. It's quite difficult in JK Tyre. The competition is very high. I'm planning a better race technology next year. You can accept me in the top 5 or top 3.
I've had a thing for cars for a very long time, since I was little. But of course my parents thought that it wasn't safe. So they wouldn't let me do it. And recently I somehow managed to convince them that I should move on with this because it is my passion. And here I am. I convinced them. And I started karting with a gentleman called Rayo. It was a transition. It's 2 completely different things. I mean, it's much bigger, much faster. You feel it through the corners. It was a nice feeling, because I couldn't stick on to karts forever. I'm already quite old as I am. And yeah, well, I thought this was the step in the right direction.
This is the grid position for the LGB Formula 4. All eyes are on Chitesh Mandadi. Will he continue his dominating streak?
Oh, Chitesh Mandadi!
Sandeep Kumar finished at top spot, followed by Vishnu Prasad. Although Mandadi was third to cross the checkered flag, he was awarded a 30 seconds penalty for a driving infringement. This elevated Ragul Rangasamy to a podium finish.
Formula 4 class as such is a very fun race to drive because if you are just in the pace and if you are running top 5, anyone could win a race because you get very mad tow down the straight and anyone could pass any other.
It is what we could do, and I will be trying to get for the push for the win in the last one.
It was Sandeep and Vishnu. So everybody tried to pass me. In the C1, they just tried to come around me from inside, outside. I just did my level best to keep the position.
Racers were gearing up for the most anticipated race of the day, the Euro JK17. In competition this year were 2 overseas drivers. Ricky Capo, the Australian driver participating in the Euro JK17, has agreed to give me a closer look at his car. Ricky, thank you. So tell me about the car.
Well, this is the Euro JK racing car. It's previously a Formula BMW. It has a lot of downforce, which basically means the front wing here and the rear wing here work together to give the car a lot of downforce, which means it has a lot of grip, especially at high speeds. The engine is a 1.2 litre. It has about 160 horsepower. Here it's reaching top speeds of about 190 kilometers per hour, but on a longer circuit like the Delhi International Circuit, I think it could hit around 240, which is a lot faster, just mainly because of the longer main straight.
Tell me more about the tyres and how important they are.
Throughout the weekend progressive, the tyres are going to degrade. So at the beginning in qualifying, that's when they're at their peak. But we also have an extra 2 tyres that we can use whenever we want to, and we've put them both on the left-hand side because that's the side of the car that's more loaded based on this track, just based on how the corners are. So race 3 coming up now, so these tyres will be a lot better obviously on the left-hand side, and I'll definitely be able to feel that as a driver. And the right side, they're simply just not as important as this track.
And tell me what all gets customized to your specific requirements? Like, could you just pop into any of the other cars and do as well?
So the cars are all equal on track, but The seat is custom made for me, also with the pedals as well, so obviously my height requires a different positioning. Everything else is pretty standard, so apart from the number and the name, it's all the same.
So the good thing is that I think I'm roughly the same height as you.
Yes.
And maybe I'll fit in there. Do you think I can
so.
have a
You
go?
want to try?
Yeah, I'd love to.
Can you put your legs all the way down?
Yeah.
Can you feel the pedals?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, perfect.
So I just lean, you lean quite back, is it?
Yeah, and especially...
You're like almost reclining back.
It's crazy, isn't it?
Oh, I didn't realize that.
And then especially with the seatbelts on,
Wait,
you
so
can hardly
I have to be this back?
Yeah.
It's like I'm lying down.
I know. And it's really important when you're driving to see just the top of the tire. Can you see just the top?
Only the top.
Yeah.
Tell me about the suit that you guys race in.
Well, firstly, I wear fire protective gear that is a top, pants, shorts, and balaclava, which is like a face mask. And this is basically fire repellent. And then on top of that, I wear my racing suit, racing boots, racing gloves, my helmet, and then a hands device. And the hands device is basically what protects your neck if there's a sudden G-force impact. So that's basically responsible for keeping you alive, basically.
This was so much fun. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.
Thank you so much. Well, time for me to get out of the car and catch all of the action from the Euro JK17 back on the racetrack. This is the grid position for the Euro JK17.
Underway, lights out, ladies and gentlemen. The final moment, Ananda taking an outside line. Will he be able to sneak it? I don't think so. Vishnu Prasad, salute to this man.
Vishnu Prasad emerged on top with a comfortable lead. Anandit Reddy and Nayan Chatterjee had to settle for second and third positions respectively.
I think we managed a decent race, but not happy with our time, so I think we can find a lot more and drive a lot more better.
I was just starting to make some progress on that, making him make some mistakes. But yeah, I ran out of laps and, but 2 is not a bad result for this race.
Vishnu was playing real defensive and just flawless defensing. And I actually thought Anand would make the move, but he couldn't. I mean, that's just brilliant that Vishnu drove so well.
Time now for a quick break, but before that, let's take a look at what the stuntmen have up their sleeves. Welcome back to the 20th JK Tyre FMSCI National Racing Championship 2017. We're about to begin with the second LGB Formula 4 race of the day, and Sandeep, who topped the earlier race, is in pole position, while Vishnu and Chitesh are in positions 2 and 3. This is the grid position for the LGB Formula 4.
Did Chitesh get a good start?
Chitesh Mandadi was looking to make up for the loss at the earlier race. It was a stormy first half to the race. There was some sort of issue with Akshay's car, and so it stalled in the middle of the track. Brian Pereira then rammed right into that car. Fortunately, both riders seem to be all right, and the race is about to resume shortly. It was a split race. So based on compilation of points, Vishnu Prasad was awarded first position, followed by Ragul Rangasamy and Kevin Pereira.
Yeah, it's chaos. I mean, it's chaos. Anybody can end up anywhere, and when there's so many people fighting, there's always that one guy who makes use of the advantage and, you know, runs away from the rest of the pack and has a race for himself.
It was really bad weekend. I didn't get a single podium. A podium finish is okay.
It's the first time that the Gixxer Cup was part of the JK Tyre FMSCI National Racing Championship. It featured the Open category as well as the JK Tyre Red Bull Road to Rookies category. In a heartening sign, there was a strong presence of bikers from the northeast of India. I have with me Vanlal Moana, the president of the Mizoram Motorsports Association. Thanks so much for joining us. It's so exciting to see how many racers there are from Mizoram. It must be a matter of great pride for you.
Definitely. Actually, there are lots of guys who cannot come this time, but it's okay. Like, we've been given a great privilege by JK Tyres, Suzuki and Apex Racing. We are really glad to be here.
And tell me, what makes motorsport so popular in the region?
Even the small kids are into bikes, crazy full time. So, and like, we've got lots of good talents here in Aizawl.
And tell me, what are the sorts of facilities available to enthusiasts who want to pursue motorsport professionally?
MIMSA started in 2009. We've been leased by the government an abandoned airfield. So we practice there, we conduct local races there. So the guys who come down here, they may be new to this proper track, but they've already faced proper hardcore racing.
All the best to all the boys from Mizoram and to you. Well, it's time now to head off to the JK Tyre Suzuki Gixxer Cup. Let's catch all of that action on the track. This is the grid position for the JK Tyre Suzuki Gixxer Cup.
A very, very defensive line chosen by Joseph at the moment. He wants to make sure...
Joseph Matthew did not let go of the lead he'd held so far at the championship. No surprises there. Matthew finished a comfortable first, followed by Malsamdong Liana and Sanjeev Mhatre.
After 5 or 6 laps, my tire is almost gone. So like, I thought, okay, now it's time. Need to like have a good pace, like in the same condition, not to push hard, because if I push hard, that the tire may, like the bike may crash.
Anh nuông cái tí này mấy,ผมดันตัวพวกเราtrong trai na zaranนี่, Athian zaranนี่.
Saying he's very happy that he got second, and it's because of God's grace that he got second place from starting from last row.
My front started chipping at the third lap, so unfortunately I started going wide at the bowl and the last corner for 2 laps.
As we head to the last race of round 2, promoters JK Tyre say they are happy with the way things are shaping up on the racetrack.
Can't be better because the top 4 guys are within a couple of thousand seconds of each other, and in the LGB grid, you saw like the top 10 guys in the same second. So as an organizer, as a promoter of the sport, I think you can't ask for more.
Now, what do you make of the progress in the bike categories?
No, I think it's fantastic. But it's just unfortunate because we got 2 sets of boys. One are the front runners and one are slightly about a second behind them. So we just need to make sure that by the next round, they all are together within the same second, and 32 guys, and anybody can be a winner. I think is Suzuki couldn't have asked for more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now we saw quite a lot of sort of feistiness on the track today as we were talking about that aggression and competitiveness. Sometimes what can happen? Accidents, right? Tell me about safety.
At the end of the day, we do play with speed, and safety is paramount. And in fact, there is a federation which runs the sport. There are organizers who run the sport. Their whole simple agenda is safety. There are small things, that there is a particular car that we can run here, and beyond that point we cannot, because our runoff area is not good enough. If it breaks, he's not going to go and hit the barriers, and it'll be fatal. So there are those minute details which are looked into, and obviously the trauma backups, the choppers, and all the works, they're all standbys.
Hopefully they'll only be standbys. It was great to see so many local people coming out in support of the event today.
Yeah, not only that, I must share with you that times have changed because we don't do much promotions anymore as we used to earlier days. And people walk up to the stores where these invites are available. But the best, and I'm thankful, is to the schools who start sending those young kids here. And that's, I think, really morale boosting for all my boys here. It's a technical sport, and I would want these kids to, not just come and see the checkered flag, but understand the nuances, understand the technology, how it is played with, and, there's a lot to learn here.
For the Euro JK17, JK Tyre has partnered with Euro International, considered among the elite racing organizations in the world. This is the grid position for the Euro JK17. Australia's Ricky Capo raced to the lead from P2.
As a debutant, Ricky Capo's
Vishnu, Anandit and Nayan were on his tail though.
Well, Anandit Reddy made the most of it and got in front.
Capo didn't let go of his lead. Anandit finished second. Although Vishnu had to settle for third place, he topped the table, albeit with a single-point lead over Anandit.
My main concern was getting into the lead as quickly as I possibly could, and I think I did so on either the third or fourth lap on the outside into turn one, which was quite a risky move, but I knew it needed to be done sooner rather than later because the competition behind me was closing in.
I think I've salvaged the weekend just a little bit considering what happened yesterday, but yeah, it is still one of the bad weekends I've ever had.
With me are two racers who really shook things up in round two. Defending champion of the Euro JK17, Anandit Reddy, and close contender Nayan Chatterjee. Now you boys must be really pleased with your performances today.
Both the races yesterday were pretty exciting. We were all, I was fighting from the back and managed to do third and win the next race. So I was pretty pleased with how yesterday went. And coming in today with, yesterday's results gave me that confidence to push even harder.
Race one, I won. Second race, I finished second. Third race, I finished third. Fourth race, I managed to finish fourth. Sounds funny, but yeah, overall it was a great weekend. Definitely the lead what Vishnu had over us has come down.
Do you think that with every round, the sort of aggression that you guys bring onto the track just heats up? There was so much contact in several of the races over the last 2 days.
Yeah, definitely the aggression, goes higher with everyone's confidence increasing, but also I would say it's a lot of controlled aggression rather than in the first round where people would just make crazy moves and wouldn't really come out on top in that situation. So I think definitely it progresses positively along the season.
Well, really well done this weekend and all the best for the upcoming rounds as well. That's all the action from this episode, but stay tuned because there's lots more excitement from the track up ahead very soon. Till then, drive safe.